Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Grilling JR with the voice of professional wrestling, Mr. Jim Ross. Jim, how are you, man?
I'm good, Connie. Good to hear your voice. Good to see your lovely face. And we got Bull with us today, and everything's cool. Everything is cool. I'm happy to be here.
We are happy to have you. You've had quite a week, Jim. I want to talk about the pay-per-view and what's going on in wrestling. But first, let's talk about what's going on with you. I mean, it's been about a week ago. We saw a tweet from you saying that you're having some trouble breathing. You were going to the hospital. Are you okay? What's going on, man?
Yeah, I had a respiratory infection, and you just have to deal with those things. I was short of breath, but I got past it. It's nice when you live about 3 or 4 minutes from the hospital here where I live in Jacksonville Beach, and so it's been a challenging week to say the least. Uh, I got back from Oklahoma where I had hospital time, and now I'm back in Jacksonville, as you can probably see about my backdrop. Uh, I got things are busy. I like being busy, as you know. I think I'm just insecure. I feel like I'm not contributing to the welfare of my cause if I don't stay busy, and I have been busy. So it's all good. I had a good time in Long Island. It's worked out well. So I had a lot of fun in New York. Not fun partying and stuff. I didn't leave my room, but it's been good. It's been good. I had a good experience, and I wasn't sure how much fuel I had left in the tank. The call time was 2 o'clock, I think it was, and so I got there and hung out in the announcer's locker room with the rest of my buddies, and so. But I had it was good fellowship. I had a lot of people were very supportive, and I appreciated that. It's just good to have support, friends. So it all worked out pretty good. So I had a good weekend. I had a good weekend. And then I flew out. I got to Jackson. I got to what town was we? I got to Long Island, and it worked out. I got lucky. I had enough energy and enough stamina to pull it off. And it's just funny how an old veteran like me can survive the schedule, the intensity. I've never seen Tony Khan so ecstatic with my work as he was after the show on Sunday night, and I appreciated that. It was timely, and because he's busy, and I understand the ways of the world and the wrestling, so that I didn't go crazy here. I didn't, it was just a good scenario, good situation. So, and I appreciate his kind words. He was very nice to me after the show, and so it worked out good, man. I had fun, and I thought we had a solid show. I thought the match that closed the show, Swerve and Ospreay, was what the doctor ordered. But they did a good job. That Swerve is going to be he's a player.
Yeah, he is.
He's a player, and he's a tough kid. I thought that's a nice shot. It tells a lot of stories there. Look at little Dick Clark over on the right, Justin Roberts. He's a gimmick, man.
The Dapper Yapper.
Yeah, that Dapper Yapper moniker was a name that Heyman gave me years and years ago, and I kind of embraced it. And now it's been passed on to Justin, who does an outstanding job.
Yes,
I thought having both ring announcers added something.
so much. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was very timely. and it worked out real well for my ears. It sounded great. So, what match on that show you think was a sleeper? What match on the pay per view Sunday night do you think uh, flipped the switch when it needed to?
I mean, I think the main event was is a match of the year candidate for sure. I was really impressed with Ospreay and certainly with Swerve. I've been a Swerve guy from day one, and I thought they exceeded expectations.
Yeah,
And I was surprised. I was a big Hayabusa fan as a kid, so I love the tribute for the gear that we saw Ospreay wear, and I think a lot of hip hop fans were excited to see Jim Jones come out and make a little cameo. It felt big time. It had a big fight feel. And I think a lot of people were under the assumption that, hey, we're going to make Swerve a transitional champion and they're going right to Ospreay. And when it goes the other way, man, it was just fantastic. And I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the Bryan Danielson match. I'm actually pretty hyped up about this Owen tournament. And as you and I are recording, it's Wednesday. So by the time folks are listening to this, they know who the wild card opponent was for Jeff Jarrett. But I'm being a bit of a homer. I'm pulling for Jeff. I know he was on the pre-show at the pay-per-view, but the promos that they have uploaded from AEW, just telling the backstory of Owen and Jeff Jarrett, golly, what a great story. And sometimes, those stories aren't made in a writer's room. It just sort of falls in your lap. And the idea that Jeff is the only guy in the tournament who knew Owen, I thought they got a lot of mileage out of that, and it was really, really well done.
yeah. Jeff delivered, no doubt. I had a nice long chat with him Sunday, actually in catering. Catering seems to be like the student union.
There you go.
Everybody hangs, and it was good. I had some good conversations in there, and people seemed to be glad to see me, which I thought was uplifting, and it made me happy. So I think it gave me the adrenaline that I needed to get through this thing. I had those two matches, and quite honestly, that was plenty. It was plenty. I enjoyed my assignment, and it was good booking by Tony Khan, and he was happy with my work, which is always nice for your boss to be pleased with your efforts. And he booked me well, and so I appreciated that, and it was just real good. And I guess as you and I were talking before we went on the air, my next assignment will be in London. I got a big appearance on Saturday in Philly.
Yeah, this Saturday, Philadelphia, the 2300 Arena Battleground Championship Wrestling, the voice of wrestling is coming your way. They're doing a barbecue bash meet and greet, and it's happening this Saturday, July the 6th from 4 to 7 p.m. And yes, it's at the famed former ECW Arena. It's called the 2300 Arena now, at the corner of Swanson and Rittner in South Philadelphia. Go out of your way to see JR there this Saturday, July 6th, 4 to 7 at the 2300 Arena. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you'd like to get JR to your event, he is making appearances. For booking information, you can email him right now, Jim Ross at 1168-media.com. That's Jim Ross at 1168-media.com. Man, Philadelphia is a wrestling town.
Yeah.
When you're in Philadelphia, do you have a go-to cheesesteak place?
Yeah. You asked that question, obviously. I'm not sure which one I like to go to the most. Taz introduced me to a spot.
Tony Luke's?
Yeah.
There you go.
Tony Luke's. You got it. Good job.
It's not far from the arena either. So if you're actually going to be in the area, now they got your barbecue covered, but they got a whole day of events at Battleground Championship Wrestling. They've got a morning show, the meet and greet, and an evening show. So more wrestling than you can shake a stick at, as we say here in the South. But if you get your fill of barbecue and you're looking for something a little different, Tony Luke's was an old ECW haunt and not too far from the arena.
Yeah, it's good too. It's really good. Consistent. It's good. I'll probably have one of those. I got that thing that you put on your arm that checks your blood sugar. I'm not sure if I blessed myself or cursed myself because I can't stop looking at it, and it gets me. It, it it's just hard to take your mind off that stuff when you got a blood sugar issue, and so I'll have to have me a Tony Luke's. I love cheesesteaks. Don't you like cheesesteaks, Conrad?
Hell yeah, of course. Who doesn't like cheesesteaks?
That's right, man. I do. I'm a fully admitted kind of a weak human being when it comes to the cheesesteaks. I love them, and it's just hard to get a better one than what you get in Philly. I've had them at 2 or 3 different spots over there. Pardon me, and I enjoy the hell out of them. So it's good. It's all good.
Do you go Wit Whiz or do you go provolone?
Provolone.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not a big liquid cheese guy. I like. I mean, I'm looking for red meat, and that's what I like, red meat. So it seems like it works out pretty well for my taste. And but I'll have one or two this weekend. That's the nice thing about doing these appearances. You have an opportunity to sample the wares of that local market, and that's good. I enjoy that. I'm not telling you it's the best thing for me, but what the hell? I enjoy the hell out of it. It's all good stuff. So all good stuff, buddy. And it was a significant weekend. Like I said earlier, I didn't know until you did the research that I had been in that 2300 arena for an appearance. You mentioned that Lawler and I made an appearance there at one point in time, so it's good. It's good. I look forward to it. And the book's doing well. I'll have books this Saturday in Philly, so if you want me to sign one for you, come on along. Come on along. So it's good, man. I had a blessed weekend, Connie, because I realized at 72, I'm not going to be able to continue to do this forever. But while I got the gas and I got the fuel, I'm going to get all I can. And I look forward to seeing the fans. It's always fun. And it's important to me to continue to be able to maintain and build on my legacy. So it's all good shit, man. I'm a blessed guy. 72 years old, been doing this for 50 years. And I don't sound overly I'm sure somebody's listening today and saying, well, JR didn't sound the same. I'm tired. I'm just tired. And but I love what I do. And I had a great weekend and it just worked out really well. Worked out really well. And by the way, this shirt I'm wearing is compliments of the Morphy family. I got to see Raphael while I was in New York. He only lives a few minutes from we stayed at the Marriott on Saturday and Sunday, and man, I had no trouble getting up. I was ready to come home. It's all good. It's all good stuff. So anyway, I had it was a very eventful weekend and one that I really enjoyed. Because again, you start thinking and this thoughts creep into your mind that how many more of these JR you got? And my schedule now is finally getting leveled out to where I can take advantage of the bookings and the scheduling. So it's good. And I appreciate what you told me before we went on the air that the feedback on my work on Saturday was, or Sunday, excuse me, was very positive. And I really do appreciate that. I appreciate your feedback and all the fans. give me a little attaboy, pat on the back, so to speak. It's all good shit, buddy. I've been very blessed. I've been very blessed, to say the least.
We're blessed to just have the opportunity to hang out with you and spend some time with you today. And we hope everybody's having a great Independence Day. I realize that here in America, it's a big holiday. It's 4th of July. And
Yep.
this time of year, everybody's doing some grilling and spending a little time with family. And maybe you're reading the book too. Zach Takes is with us here live as we're doing a live recording from adfreeshows.com. And he says, JR, I just picked up the new book last night. Look forward to diving into it over the holiday. And Matt Blackstock, he knows all about the barbecue, and he wants to know. I wanted to say, hey, what are your favorite barbecue places to go eat? And you've had barbecue far and wide here in America. Do you have some go-tos that you would recommend?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It depends on where you are. Barbecue is so regional. All barbecue is not made the same, as you and I both know. Normally, the more plain, down to earth places are my go-tos. It doesn't have to have a lot of chrome on it. Just a building, could be a gas station, whatever. I think of that scene in what the hell, that movie Blindside, where Ed Orgeron was recruiting Michael Orr to come to Ole Miss because they sold good barbecue at the gas station, and that's a doable thing. It's a doable thing. You got a smoker, you're in business. You got a grill, you might not be, but you got a smoker, you're doing okay. And that's kind of my go-to. If I see smoke, I know that they're moved higher up on my list. So it's all good. It's all good shit. And so we'll get it rolling. We may not have a long show today, as you and I discussed, but it's going to be a good show. And I have plenty to talk about as far as the show is concerned, and the matches. So it's all good. It's all good, buddy. I've been very blessed, and there were times last week and the week before, my stays in the hospital have been brutal, and I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on and have fun and regroup. And that's the nice thing about this schedule. I have no issues regrouping. And when I was younger, I would have kept a lot of this stuff a secret because I didn't want to show signs of weakness. It's just not. That's not me. And but man, now I'm so blessed that I still can work. And I had no idea what to think when I went out to do the show on Sunday night. I'd been there forever, it seemed like, and so it worked out. It worked out nicely. I had a good weekend. I saw a lot of old friends, and it just all kind of came together when I sat down at the table. I thought I was really looking forward, and still am. I was looking forward to Moxley and Naito. I called a lot of Naito matches over the years, uh, and would like to do more. Obviously, he's a real good hand. He's a real good hand, but I think people were just anticipating the uh, the match with the main event more than not, and it was just hard to get everybody in the groove for that thing. I know you said that you have mixed emotions about it, and I think people were just anticipating what was coming up next. Swerve and Ospreay. This fucking Ospreay, he's an animal. He's an animal, man. He's really good, and I'm kind of glad, Connie, that they're bringing him. Tony Khan's bringing him along in a somewhat deliberate fashion. There's no hurry here. I mean, he's going to be the guy at some point in time, I just don't know when or where or how, but he's too good to sit on the back shelf. At least that's my take on it.
Well, something that's not going to be on the back shelf that we recommend you pick up today is down at Walmart. Our friends at Cremo have come up with something that we really believe in. JR and I were talking about this before we clicked record because we actually screen all of our products before we try them. So whenever an advertiser is interested in promoting their product on our show, we want to try it out and see what we think. And boy, this body wash from Cremo is the real deal. After a long, hard day in this sun, especially on a day like today, as you're listening to this, the 4th of July, how nice is it going to be to jump in that shower and relax afterwards? Well, let me go ahead and give you some pro tip. Let me put you up on game, as the kids are saying. Cremo is the real deal. I tried it, and when I was out in the wild, I had a few people who I'm around on a regular basis say, "Do you have a new cologne?" No, it's actually my new body wash from Cremo. I'm a big believer in this, and I think it's going to elevate and enhance your hygiene routine. It's going to combine rich lathering and hydrating formulas with meticulously balanced, multi-layered fragrances. It's going to give you really a superior shower experience. I mean, this is going to make a regular shower feel more like a more luxurious experience. Specifically, their bourbon vanilla body wash, man, it's the real deal. It's got bold distiller spices, perfectly balanced with notes of rich Madagascar vanilla and aged oak. It's the real deal. And I wasn't sold on it, I'll have to admit. I thought, man, I don't know. I think I'm okay with body wash. Mine works just fine. I stepped out of the shower, and as I rounded my way to the garage, I walked past the kitchen, and my wife said, "Hey, what does that smell?" And I knew when it threw up her radar, we got a home run. Cremo works with master perfumers to make sure that every body wash scent is meticulously blended and refined. It smells like a high-end cologne. It's also relaxing. I don't know why this scent just really works, but it does. And it doesn't just work for men. The ladies in your life are going to love it too. Now, I'm not suggesting they go use yours. I'm just saying they're going to love it on you. It has a distinct layered scent. It actually evolves as you wash. So you're going to get clean and smell great at the same time. Cremo also has a lot of other great products for men. They've got shaving cream, they've got beard oil, they've got shampoo, and it's all in distinct masculine scents. Think about that. Bourbon, come on, get you some right now. You can find Cremo's new men's body wash in the brand new distinctive bourbon vanilla scent at Walmart or walmart.com. That's Cremo, Cremo. Look for their body wash, and I recommend the bourbon vanilla scent at Walmart or walmart.com. Once again, that's Walmart or walmart.com. Want to give a shout out to a friend of the show, Kid Chris. Man, I've been a fan of his for a long time. He's with us here in our live recording, and he's got something I've never heard before. I want your take on. He says San Antonio barbecue is the best. Our buddy Bull Ramos, he's down in San Antonio. I've not had any San Antonio barbecue. What do you think of their stuff, JR?
It's good. It's good. If you find a smoker that's ongoing, you're one up on the competition. In regard to this body wash, I got a box of that stuff, and I came out of the hospital toward the end of last week, and this is no exaggeration, with no less than probably 10 or 12 of those little ports, and it just, I had to get them off. And so I used the body wash in my shower and I loosened all those sticker things. That's not the word I'm trying to find, but it's, you know what I'm talking about. It's where you clip on and without pulling all your hair off your chest.
Right.
Which is not fun, quite honestly. And anyway, it's got a lot of uses. And I loosened all my ports, and they came right off without taking off a gob full of hair, which is no fun. So you just got to be creative. But it's a really good product. It's rich. It's got a lot of body to it, and it smells good. I can't remember that old commercial with Walt Garrison. Keeps me looking great and smelling great. So it worked out pretty good. So I will endorse this product wholeheartedly, uh, and I just love the scent, the richness. It's all good stuff, man. So we Conrad mentioned that we try our products before we put them on display, and I think that's a smart thing to do. It would be somewhat dishonest to have these things, these products, and not try them. Why not try them? If they don't work, then why are we selling them? And these work, so give it a shot. I think you're going to like them, and it's another new sponsor. Their new sponsors are coming in by the droves, and we can sell your products as well. So all works out pretty good.
Try Cremo at Walmart or walmart.com. Cremo. Look for that bourbon vanilla scent. You'll be glad you did.
Yep.
Hey, let's talk about some news and notes in wrestling. Over the weekend, we saw a big return from an AEW Day One of the bigger lady stars that they've had over there. Britt Baker is back in AEW. And I think she got a huge response, and people have been ready for her return. She's been out for like almost a year. But man, she was always at the top of the card on the lady side of things when she was here.
Right.
Now she's maybe on a collision course with the former Sasha Banks, the now Mercedes Moné. How excited were you to see Britt Baker back?
I was happy, and it got a great pop. The thing about these returns, Britt got a great ovation. The fans embraced her. They were glad to see her. They're glad that she's back. All the boxes were checked, quite frankly. And I talked to her a while. We got back to the hotel there at the Marriott, as we mentioned, and she and I had a little brief chat. I told her how happy I was to see her. The baddest bitch on the block. And it'll be interesting to see how she pairs up skill set wise with Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné needs a strong opponent, and hopefully Britt's going to fill that void. And I look forward to seeing them work. It's still going to take some time for me to get over the fact that we had Britt and Thunder Rosa, and I thought they had great chemistry. It worked out really well. So I'm anxious to see where this goes, and hopefully they'll have chemistry in the ring. That's where it really counts. And so it was good. I had again a nice chat with her. I got to talk to so many nice people. They were glad to see me, and I was glad to see them. So that's one of the great things about our wrestling business. It's a brotherhood or a sisterhood, whatever you want to say, and it worked out really good. So I'm glad she's back. She helps us. She helps AEW, and I'm again got plenty of time for Britt Baker. She's a star. Her match with Thunder Rosa back in the day was something that was very eye opening and important to the success of the company. Britt comes back after being gone, as she mentioned, a year or approximately, and she just looked like she had missed a date. I know this; she's in better condition. Not that she wasn't always in great condition, but she's worked very diligently to get herself back ready to go, mentally and physically. So I'm a Britt Baker fan, and she'll help us in the long haul. Tony Khan's done a nice job of rebuilding, retooling, whatever term you want to go to or utilize with all the women. All of a sudden, you look around and the women's division of AEW is pretty damn strong.
I would totally agree. We've got a lot of really talented ladies on that side of things, and we've got some fun questions that are coming in now. Here's one from Kid Chris, who says, "Who would you consider to be a locker room leader in AEW right now? Also, has there been a wrestler's court in AEW yet? Have you heard of a wrestler's court? That feels like a term we don't even hear about anymore."
I have not heard of any wrestler courts. It's an old tradition. Quite honestly. I think the locker room leader, at least for my money, Connie, is uh, Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of the rock, not Dwayne Johnson, but he's kind of the solid.
Foundation.
Yeah, he's a solid piece, and does a great job there leading. And I know he dressed in the announcer's dressing room over the weekend, and it's amazing how many talents rely on Daniel for advice and counsel, motivation, and he's always got time. And always got time. I know he was getting a MRI this week on his neck, uh, and hopefully that MRI came out okay. He's kind of put together. He's kind of reassembled himself physically, but I think he's the locker room leader, and just does a great job in that role. I'm all for him. He's got a great future in wrestling, even though this is, as he says, his last year, and I believe him. I don't know when his last match is going to be. Is it going to be in Wembley or later? I don't know. He hasn't said. I do know that he's got concerns about his health, and so he'll be fine in that respect. But he's a hell of a hand, boy. I sit in the locker room next to him, listen to him go over his match. He's very logical, very smart, and I just I think the world of him. He's mature, he's objective, and he's just a hell of a guy, hell of a guy. And I'm glad we have him on our team. Whether he wrestles for another year or 6 months or whatever it may be, I do believe that he's sincere when he says, this is it for me. I want to work the schedule and call it a day. He's really good. He's really good. A good kid, good guy, good family man. There's nobody in our business that I'm aware of that's more objective and constructive than Daniel Bryan. He's just tremendous, tremendous, and you don't realize how valuable he is to the company until you're around him. And he's exactly what you're looking for a leader. He's objective and he's fair. He's always got time for people, and a lot of guys don't. A lot of guys are more interested in helping themselves than they are anything else. And he's not that way. He's very unselfish, and I have great respect for Daniel Bryan, and think he's just he and I were laughing about, I gave him his first booking in the Shawn Michaels school down in San Antonio. And I'm proud of that. We got lucky again with another guy. He's just tremendous. So, but that was a kind of a bonus to my weekend, is sharing a locker room with him. And several other guys too. I mean, several other guys there as well. And I just, I can't tell you how valuable he is. He's really valuable.
We can't talk about how valuable anybody is in AEW without at least discussing MJF. He's back. He had his first match back on pay-per-view. He opened up the show this past weekend. Widely regarded as being one of the best heels in the business, but seemingly trying his hand at being maybe a baby face right now. But he was at home in Long Island, where he had his last match at the end of the year last year at World's End, and of course he had to take some time off for an injury. But MJF is back, and it couldn't be at a better time. Wembley is on deck. We've got several weeks before we build to that at the end of August, but what do you think about seeing MJF back, and what do you hope to see in the coming months from MJF?
I was somewhat underwhelmed with his booking on Sunday. Not the fact that he worked worked first. That is irrelevant to me. As a matter of fact, sometimes you get a break by working first because the audience is fresh. So It's all good. And I'm a fan of his. He's just, he's like any other young guy. He's just got to mature, and he's talented as hell. And don't know where all he's headed and what his stops along the way are going to be. But I'm glad he's on our team. He's very underrated in a lot of ways, but he gets a lot of publicity. He gets a lot of credit, and for that I'm happy for him. There's no bigger fan in wrestling than MJF. He's a fan of the business. He's a fan of the product. I know there are a lot of speculation that he was going to leave and go to WWF, and that, thank goodness, that didn't happen. So, but I'm a big fan of his, Conrad. He's like any other young kid. He's got to mature. He's got to come along. His age has got to catch up with his experience. He's very bright, very, very bright. And sometimes I think that he misuses his clout a little bit. So, but
What do you
I'm a
mean?
big, well, I mean that he needs more patience with himself, and he needs to understand that it's not always about him, but it is more often than not. And he's really good. He's very talented. So I just think that he's got to slow down sometimes and enjoy the journey, and not be. He sometimes I don't know how to put this, but
He's
maybe
impatient.
yeah, I think sometimes he's impatient. I think sometimes he's he needs to take a deep breath
Mm.
and enjoy his journey. If he did, he'd probably have a better overall experience. But he's got a lot of ability. He's smart. I mentioned on the show, a few weeks ago, that he reminds me of a young Paul Heyman, and it's not because they're both Jewish. It's just they're both students of the game. And I think Max is a keeper. Obviously, that's an understatement. So but we'll see where it all ends up. But he's an important part of our team, very important part of our team. And I just think he could enjoy wrestling a little bit more than he does, if that makes any sense to you. He's very cerebral. He's a thinker, and so but I'm all for him. He's a talented kid, and sometimes, and this is going to sound funny, and this will be interesting to see how it's regurgitated to the media, the wrestling media. I think sometimes he could have more fun, and sometimes he uses his judgment in a somewhat not self-serving, but he could have more fun. He could have more fun and not take everything so seriously, because he's really, really talented, and I think he's got just terrific. I mean, he's a hell of a guy. So, but he can enjoy his life a little bit more. I think he's very serious, and I'm all for his success. He's very valuable. He's one of our MVPs without a doubt. So I like the kid. He's fun to be around. Keeps you on your toes. Smart. He's smart. He just needs to have more fun. And if he
I've heard
does,
people before say that about Bret Hart, that maybe he took himself too seriously. Would that be a good comparison for MJF, that he's
might
just
be.
very invested and very serious about it?
Yeah, it might be. You might be right. You might be absolutely right, buddy. Uh, he could enjoy life a little bit more. He's
Hmm.
making great money, I understand, uh, but he doesn't need to be so demanding on his own time. Uh, just enjoy it. Step back step back a little bit and smell that barbecue sauce.
There you go. Let's talk a little bit about some other surprises that we saw in the show. I think a lot of people in recent weeks have been excited to see Mistico, who we saw once upon a time over in WWE on AEW Stomping Grounds. Of course, he's a big part of the CMLL collaboration that's been going on. What do you think of Mistico? I mean, he's quite a draw south of the border, and you guys have been lucky enough to have him around for a few shows now.
Yeah, he's talented as hell. You know, he's going to have that same issue, size, the language, things like that. But as far as just bell to bell, he can be very spectacular, no doubt about that. And I think that the issue there is the fact that a lot of our audience is just not up to speed with him. They're not familiar with him as much as they should be, and I'm sure not as much as Tony Khan would like for him to be. But that just takes time, Connie. That's a time thing. You got to get comfortable in this new pair of shoes. And I like the kid. He's got. Sometimes those guys are a lot the same as far as their in-ring style and so forth. But I like his game. You know, all those guys, they have to figure out a way to differentiate themselves from the pack. And you know, I flew down to Mexico City back in the day to sign him, if I'm not mistaken, way back in the day. So he's a talented kid and very athletic, and sometimes that speaks better English than not. So, but the language is something that concerns me at times. You got to be able to communicate, and one has to be able to communicate in this business that is so audible oriented. But I like his game. He's unique. He's exciting, and he got over to the audience that he needed to get over with, and has made himself a star. Now, can he transfer all that stardom in south of the border to north of the border? I think he can, but I don't think it's going to be an overnight deal. He looks good. He's always professional. It looks good. I like him. I like the kid's game. But you get the same issues that you're always going to have with some of these guys: size, the language barrier, things of that nature. So, but I'm glad we got him. He's very flamboyant, very charismatic, and he's on the right team. I'm glad that we have him.
I'm glad that we got to see a ladder match at Forbidden Door too. We saw Jack Perry walk away as the new TNT champion. Of course, that title had to be vacated when the former Edge, we know him as Adam Copeland, jumped off the cage and jacked his leg up at the last AEW pay-per-view. So we built towards a big ladder match, had lots of star power in there, some new names, some new faces, and some we're pretty familiar with. But when it was all said and done, Jack Perry comes away with the TNT championship, the Elite, standing tall. You've been a big fan of Jack Perry, and once upon a time, I think you even got some heat for calling him Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and it worked out. He's just Jack Perry now, so maybe you saw something ahead of everybody else. What say you, huh?
Well, I got lucky, you know. I all going by feel, quite frankly. I'm a big fan of Jack Perry. I've made friends with his family. I have great respect for his mom and his sister. I think it's cool that they will fly from California more often than not to come see him perform. Jack's another guy that has to step back occasionally and enjoy what he's doing. Really smart kid. He's passionate. He's got a hot girlfriend, which never hurts nothing. And so I like him a lot, and he's working hard on his body. He's adding a little size. He's very athletic. He's a student of the game. His greatest days are ahead of him. Speaking of Jack Perry, his best days are still in the future, and he's just a great kid. I know he's been involved in some controversy and all that stuff, but hell, Connie, that's pro wrestling. What happens in the locker room or in the backstage area and all that stuff, it's hard to quantify all that stuff and how important it is for the overall game. But I love the kid. He's just a breath of fresh air to me. And I told him one time, I said, you can't be Jungle Boy forever. You can't be Jungle Boy forever. And he couldn't. And so now he's not Jungle Boy anymore. He's Jack Perry, and he's doing a good job. Like I said, I'm glad that we have him. I'm anxious to see how far he's allowed to take this gimmick of and how far he's going to be able to evolve in it. Because I think he's a future big star. I think he's one of the building blocks. Jack Perry is one of the building blocks of AEW. Without a doubt. And, it's funny to look at this roster that Tony Khan has assembled. There's a lot of talent there. Golly, there's a lot of talent there.
Yeah.
So it's all good. He asks about how's your arm, JR? Well, wrist is broken. I'm all right. He's just a good kid, a good-hearted kid. But he's young, and young guys are apt to make mistakes, but he's serious. He's serious about his success, and I think that's what really, really is important.
Kid Chris is with us, and he's actually got a follow-up question about Jack Perry. He says, do you think Jack Perry needs a manager or a heater so he can be the chicken shit?
Oh, that would probably work. Is it absolutely necessary? I don't think so. Wouldn't be something that I would run to the idea room and submit because I don't think he needs it. He's a good talker, and you want to be able to go solo and be that good talker as long as you can. And he is. He's very. I think he's independent. Maybe sometimes to a fault. I don't know. That's all up to the eye of the beholder. But I like him. He's a good kid. Got a great look. He's got good hair, and that's always important, man. You got good hair. He's not tatted up. He's makes him look a little different. So I love the kid. I think he's just terrific. I think he's just got, like a lot of guys, he's got to develop some patience and exhale.
Well, how about a big exhale for Blue Chew? We're a big fan of Blue Chew here on the show. And if you're looking for a little red, white, and blue action tonight on 4th of July, man, reach for that Blue Chew. And if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? This episode and JR's Wiener are brought to you by Blue Chew. If you want to be as hard as the summer day is long, then get yourself a Blue Chew and bring the summer heat. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers to you the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in a chewable form. Now, the process is simple. You just sign up at BlueChew.com. You consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA, prepared and shipped directly to your door. But the best part? Well, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversation, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. I'm telling you, it's going to be a slobber knocker. You're going to love it. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners right now, too. Try Blue Chew for free when you use our promo code JR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. The promo code is JR, and you'll receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast.
How do you beat that deal? How do you beat that deal? You can't.
No.
It's the best deal going.
Yes.
And it is. It's the best deal going. And the other thing we said here about a lot of our products, that we try personally. They work. They work. And so that's all I need to hear is does the product work? You damn right it works. And it's important to stress that. It's not a gimmick. It works. So I'm a big believer in Blue Chew, and they've been loyal to us from day one. They're so simple. It's idiot proof. So I can't encourage you to try it enough if you're of that mindset, because it works. And there's nothing like a product that you endorse that actually works very well, perfectly, I might add.
Try it right now, bluechew.com. Be sure to use the promo code JR. Get your first shipment free. Just pay the $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, and the promo code is JR. Jim, something else that's making a lot of news and notes in the biz is the idea that Ricochet has finished up with WWE. He's now, as most people say, headed for AEW. Hypothetically, if that were to be the case, who would be some opponents you'd like to see Ricochet work with on the AEW side of things?
Well, there's a lot of guys. He's a very talented kid. You know, I got to know him one year at the convention in Charlotte. I think at that time he was dating. Who was he dating? Somebody.
Tessa Blanchard back in the day.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. Good recall, Connie. And nice kid. He takes a lot of chances. So you got to wonder somewhere along the way, is he going to take one too many? But he's a hell of an athlete, amazingly gifted, at least in my take. Maybe sometimes he's too gifted. Maybe sometimes he tries too many things. But he's a very polite, well-spoken young man, and I think that's what you look for in my old talent relations role. You look and see that he has he matured to the level that he's willing to back off a gear and pace himself a little bit more. But athletically speaking, he's extraordinary. He really is extraordinary. I think the thing that he has to have is he has to have patience and not try that one extra spot. He's really good. He's really good. Nice kid. And I'm sure he's going to have a very bright future in AEW if he signs. And I don't know that to be etched in stone or not. I would think so. I would think that he will be all hands on deck and do a great job. So I'm a fan of his work. I'm a fan of his work. He's a nice kid, and I wish you nothing but great success.
I wanted to talk a little bit about what we've seen on the other channel. I don't know if you've been able to keep up with any of this, but as folks are listening to this, we're just a couple of days away from the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which is going to be in Toronto. Have you been able to catch much WWE? And if so, what has caught your eye? What have you thought of like the Wyatt Six and some of the other things they've been trying over there?
I watched a little bit when I can. I'm a wrestling fan, so yeah, I watch it. And happy that I spent the time to watch it. I think the Wyatt Six hasn't got me yet. I'm not against it, but I just don't know where it's headed. I need more. I need more information. I need more background, and if I get that, then I'm sure I'll come along. Be honest with you. I think Cody's still pulling the wagon over there. And it's funny. He communicates with me on a regular basis just on my health, not on, hey, what'd you think of this spot, or how are my punches, or things of that nature. He's just, he's been supportive of me amazingly, because he's genuinely concerned about my health. And for that, I appreciate. I really do. So, and I'm proud of him. He's doing a good job. He's a leader there, and and he's smart, he's solid. You know, he's one of those guys that has evolved to the point where he can have a great match with just about anybody. I don't know anybody that he could work with that wouldn't be good. So, and his work on, I saw a little piece of business on Monday, I think it was, where he and Randy and Kevin Owens. I think Kevin Owens is very, very underrated.
Yes.
I think he's very underrated. He's got some stone cold qualities that I think are important. Tough kid, uh, good dude. Not he's not he's not overwhelmed with chrome. He's a smart guy, and I like Kevin Owens a lot. And Randy's, of course, Randy's a staple. Randy's been around long enough now to where it's hard for him to do things that are not uh, that's not surprising. He's just consistent as hell. You know, I had to really talk long and hard to get Vince to sign him because of his dishonorable discharge from the Marines back in the day. So I he's had a wonderful career, and he's made a lot of money, which I'm very happy for. Uh, Done a great job. So we'll see. He's a lifer there, and they're WWF, WWE. They're lucky to have him because he can still go out and have that great match when he wants to. And I I love his game. He's over. He's over. And when you get somebody over, all you want to do is build on that. And I think they're doing a nice job of not overexposing Randy. I expect Randy to be a heel sooner than later, uh, and work with Cody. That's just a guess, but that to me they would have great chemistry, and I would love to see that in a hot personal issue because the matches themselves would be outstanding.
Well, we know we're just a couple of days away from them being in a 6-man tag. It's all three of the folks you just mentioned, actually. Cody, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens taking on the Bloodline, which is going to be Solo, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu. I guess any three of those, because you've also got Tongaloa. This is the new Bloodline, and that is a big story. Of course, as we're recording this past Friday night, WWE was at Madison Square Garden. And your old great close personal friend, Paul Heyman, would not acknowledge Solo as his tribal chief. And just him saying, I don't acknowledge you as my tribal chief, got a mega pop, like a crazy pop. And then they took him for a ride and put Paul Heyman through the announce table. We've historically not seen Paul Heyman take any bumps. So it was a special moment.
Yeah.
They're doing a great job with the storytelling, but I mean, after Roman Reigns was this mega heel, it does feel like the way it's positioned now, if and when Roman Reigns comes back with Paul Heyman, he's going to be a mega baby face. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. My God, it's table's set. The table is set very nicely. Paul's performance was extraordinary. He's just he's special talent. I'm concerned about his size. I'm concerned about his weight. I want him to stay healthy and productive and all that good stuff. But yeah, him getting the bump through the table was pretty damn special. And he's no spring chicken, but he did it. He got it done, and I thought it worked out very very well. His verbal stuff, his getting himself show ready, not shaving, his eyes are bloodshot. He hadn't slept. He was concerned. He was worried. All these things that go into that whole formula, he pulled off very well. So it was. I don't know if I've seen a performance from someone in his role as as significant as we saw there from the Garden. And where else would you want to do it? I mean, I know the Garden is special to Paul. So look at this. I want you to take that shot, Bull, again, and look at his ankles. He's just he needs to. I'm concerned about his health. I love the guy. You know, he was one of my guys. He was a guy that the booking committee and WCW did not want to work with because he was very demanding, and I think, quite frankly, he had better ideas than most of them on the booking committee. He had better booking ideas. So that, because of the paranoia in wrestling, got some heat on him, and that's how he became an announcer. The booking committee didn't want to work with him, and so consequently, I did. I wanted to work with him, and so I made him my partner, and the rest, as they say, is history. But he's a phenomenon. He's a phenomenon. But like I said, we're all human. I can tell you, I can attest to that. And you don't know when you're going to get sick. And I'm not prophesizing that for Paul by any stretch, but logically, he needs to chill. Look at those two young pups.
Good old days right there. Probably 2001, I think.
Might be. Yeah. Yeah. It was good. It was good. I had a lot of fun working with him. My famous line to Paul was, "God damn, you're easy to dislike." He looked at me incredulously. I said, "That's actually a compliment."
Yes, it is.
So for a heel, I'm a heel. God damn it, Jim Cornette.
Hey, let's talk about a big mega heel this weekend. We've got a really fun match on deck, one I'm looking forward to more than I have for an Intercontinental title match in a while. Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. We are big fans of Braun Breaker here on the show. Sami Zayn has been fantastic.
Yeah.
This show is in Toronto. You know the crowd is going to be hot. It's like Sami's hometown. This, to me, could be the match of the weekend. What say you?
It's got the potential. It's got the potential to. Sami Zayn's very, very good. Very underrated. It'll be interesting to see how his Canadian heritage fits into the equation on Saturday. And but I have a lot of respect for Sami Zayn. He's paid his dues, for God's sakes, and it's just a gentleman. Quite honestly, a professional. He's a real true pro. But it'll be interesting to see how the lay of the land plays out between those two guys. Braun Breaker just needs time. He just needs to he needs to evolve. But my God, he looks great. He's athletic as hell. Good dude. Really good dude. How good Braun Breaker is going to be depends on where he taps his learning, where his learning curve stops. But he's just I know when I first saw him before he got in the business, I'd seen him all his life. I think his mom is originally from Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
If I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that, but I think so, but I might be wrong. Nice kid, polite. He was raised right. He was raised by guys who has dedicated a lot of his time to the school board there in their area there in Georgia. And I think the world of him. He's just he's a stud. I haven't worked with I've never worked with anybody before as a booker that would not have embraced him and loved him, because he's physically tough. He's reliable. He's fearless. So it's all good stuff. I have a lot of respect for this kid, and I love his dad. I've always loved his dad. His dad is always so easy to get along with. So, you know, I hope that match plays out like everybody wants. If so, we get a break. Now that show is Saturday, right?
Yeah, it's going to be this Saturday night, and I think it starts at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, and it should be a pretty awesome show. We got a men's Money in the Bank match, a women's Money in the Bank match. We've got Seth Rollins and Damian Priest for the world title. We've got the IC, as we just mentioned, and then we got the 6-man. So I think that's 5 matches. I do want to ask you about that because over on the AEW side of things, again, we're comparing apples and oranges here because WWE offers premium live events. So if you have Peacock, you get them all for free or all included. Whereas AEW has pay-per-views. So you're going to come out of your pocket and you're going to spend $50 or so for the show. And I think AEW takes the approach of, hey, we want to overwhelm them with value. So at the pay-per-view, we had 14 matches.
Yeah.
The result was a lot of great wrestling, but it was a long night.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, WWE is doing 5 matches as a wrestling fan. So take your business hat off for a minute, just as a wrestling fan. What is the sweet spot for a big show, do you think? Is it based on the number of matches, the amount of time, and what should it look like, in your opinion, as a fan?
Somebody asked me that question, Connie, on Sunday, because the discussion was, you know, are we giving them, are we serving too much Q, too much barbecue? It's hard for me to even equate that answer because I believe that, you know, it's a tough question. I believe that a pay-per-view should be 3 hours. Plenty of time. If you can't conduct your business in 3 hours, you need to reevaluate your plan. At least that's my take on it. But those 4 and 5 hour pay-per-views are daunting, to say the least. So I am of the belief that somebody said, well, when you were down at WCW back in the day, how long were your pay-per-views? I said they were 2 hours and 50 minutes long. And that's a fact. So I think somewhere more in the 2 hour and 50-minute range is better than, or 3 hour. Just say 3 hours for simplicity's sake. Is more my wheelhouse. And now that I'm getting older, my attention span has been affected. So I think 3 hours is a nice starting point for a pay-per-view. That's just me. Because you first got to cater to your audience, and you know I think those, when you get past 3, you're gambling, and I don't know if that's a smart thing to do. Gamble with your audience's attention span, because no matter what we say, the heavy shit is at the end. It's called a main event. And I think that's something very important. You got to cater to that audience. Make sure they're covered. Make sure they like make sure they like the order. And it's just hard. It's hard to figure that out. But I think somewhere in that 3 hour range would be my preference.
Well, my preference is always JR's all-purpose seasoning. You can check it out at jrsbbq.com. They've got something for everybody. If you're watching with us over on YouTube, you see on the left-hand side that all-purpose seasoning right there. Man, I've used it on everything from popcorn to eggs to every kind of protein there is, whether it's poultry or it's pork or anything in between. JR's all-purpose seasoning is my go-to, and it will be yours as well. He's also got Chipotle ketchup. He's got Main Event mustard. He's got 2 types of barbecue sauce. He's even got his own red ass hot sauce. You can get all of that, plus the brand new book, autographed. You can get signed cards, signed figures, all of this and more available now at jrsbbq.com. It's grilling season, baby, so don't sleep on it. Check it out at jrsbbq.com.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I love that idea. Of course, I'm a capitalist. But business has been good, and we're trying to keep up with our orders, and Stephen Link does a really nice job there managing our site, and I think he's a key member of the team, no doubt. But yeah, the all-purpose seasoning, it's always number 1 or 2 seller. It's amazing. It's just consistent as hell, and for that we are very grateful, to be honest with you. So it's all good stuff, man.
Well, it's great stuff. I recommend it, jrsbbq.com. And I recommend, if you're within driving distance, that you make your way to Philadelphia, to the corner of Swanson and Rittner this weekend. It's this Saturday, July the 6th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the 2300 Arena. Yes, that's the famed old ECW arena at the corner of Swanson and Rittner. And JR wants to see you there for what they're calling the Barbecue Bash Meet and Greet, brought to you by the great folks at Battleground Championship Wrestling.
They're really good. They're really good people. I'm sorry, Conrad. They're really good people too. The Battleground guys. They put their audience first. I think that's important. They understand how you market. They understand the importance of the fans, as do I. So I look forward to seeing a lot of my old friends in Philly on Saturday afternoon, 4 to 7. 4 to 7. Come out and join us. Check it out. Get some pictures taken and some things signed, all that good stuff. So I'm looking forward to Saturday a lot. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's kind of historic for me because so many great things have happened in that arena over the years. Why not jump aboard and have some fun?
Check it out. It's this Saturday. JR's coming your way. And next week, we'll be back here with a brand new edition of Grilling JR with the voice of professional wrestling, Mr. Jim Ross.
We're very grateful, folks. Thanks very much for supporting me and our causes. It's very much appreciated. And I look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday afternoon. Maybe it'll be a little cooler by the 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Who knows? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So it'll be fun. And I look forward to it. And couldn't do it without you guys. You're very important in my life. You should understand that, guys. You're very important in my life. I need you to continue to support me because it's just a psychological thing. Is it make a couple of bucks? Sure, that's great too. But I need your support, and I embrace it and thank you for it. So we'll see you Saturday afternoon in Philly, and it'll be fun.
SaveWithConrad.com.
My name is Doug Gustafson, and we are from Columbus, Ohio. First learned of Conrad through his podcast network. I'm a big 83 Weeks fan. Probably got into a little bit more credit card debt than what we wanted to during the course of the pandemic. We wanted to get rid of some of that. My wife and I had luckily bought the house many years ago and had quite a bit of equity built up in it. We are looking to actually redo our bathroom, things around the house that we wanted to do with the other equity that we have left over. We've been talking about refinancing forever, and I finally just took the plunge and called the number, got a hold of him, and from start to finish, it was just fantastic. I had Diane within the day. The communication with her was fantastic. The process moved quicker than I could have ever hoped. My name's Doug Gustafson from Columbus, Ohio. I ended up saving $800 a month with Save with Conrad, and am able to also update our bathroom.
NMLS number 32416, equal housing lender, SaveWithConrad.com.